Hey guys! Today we're doing a part 2 on challenging and developing your introverted intuition as an INFJ. Let me get my notes out of notes. First of all, how we use NI for INFJs. I'm gonna take in this video some of the concepts that Scott Morgan, I think it's his name, talked about. I'm gonna link the video below. And he basically was talking about how INFJs use introvert intuition, how it manifests in the physical world. And I'm gonna take some of those concepts and actually provide you with like implementation methods and things you can do in real life to grow that NI and trust it more. It's dominant, I know, but it's still all over the place. And the thing is, you need the other functions to develop it. I'm gonna explain to you later. So how NI manifest for INFJs is that we look away when we're talking. It's like we're searching around. When we look away, we're actually looking within. When we're searching around, like within information to connect with, and we're gonna look away, and that's when you know that we're in our trying to organize the NI. Another thing you can notice when we focus in-depth eye contact with a person, or we're staring at them like INFJ stare, we actually are not really able to access NI when we do that. It actually distracts the INFJ from looking within, and then we have to look away to think. And that's what I noticed, that if there's a person around me and I focus on them and I look at them, I rarely so hard to think for myself and like organize my thoughts if there's another person in the room. And one way to overcome that is to actually challenge it and to actually train yourself to reflect and think while facing another person through Skype, through Zoom. I'm like so dumb when we do Zoom calls. When there's other people or another person, I'm like, I can't give in-depth response, and it happened several times, and now I understand why. Is that looking at the person actually enables us to read a person, and we're capable to like oftentimes actually what the INFJ is gonna be experiencing when they're with another person is something that the other person are not aware of that they're experiencing. It's like there's a sort of transparency that we can like access to how they're feeling and know that they're feeling depressed, even though they don't show it necessarily on the outside. And that's why, because the FE takes over, like we're unable to combine the NI and FE unless we look away for a moment. And it's basically like micro movements when you like look away, access NI, and then look at the person and have FE, and you mix those two together to come up with something. You know, but it's not at the same time. It's like for a few seconds NI, for a few seconds FE. That's what I noticed, because we have different methods of like using them. Yeah, I can invite my flatmate in another video, my friend, to talk about how like we have both introverted intuition, me dominant, her subdominant, but it's like we can't really focus if there's another person around us. So yeah, another thing was that introverted intuition works best when the INFJ is not talking. So the quieter we are, the more in tuned with our intuition we are. It's like it comes with a like strong concentration. It's like almost like we're comfortable with nothingness. We're not talking, right? So then all of a sudden sort of like crystal clear thought comes to life, and it's here somewhere, but it's so vague that we cannot like put it into words, and we cannot like conceptualizing, but it's somehow crystal clear a concept, but at the same time it's vague, and that's when you know it's something worth exploring. my advice here is to actually really write everything down that comes to your thoughts, because trust me, you will forget it. You will forget it because there's so many things that you could access and refer to, but when you're, for example, when you're doing a research, or when you're about to do a YouTube video, not all of them will come to your will come back, you know. There's a lot of like micro elements and micro points and concept in all this NI sphere that you're connecting them in your head, and it's crystal clear, and you have a sort of revelation, but if you don't write it down, you will move to another one and you will like literally it happens all the time, I forget them. So write them down. That's my advice if you want to make something out of it. Oftentimes when that crystal clear thought comes, it's so unrelated to anything that is happening around, and that's when you know that it's worth exploring, because it came to surface, it came there for no reason, you know. It like it's somehow in your unconscious, and it came there in your NI out of nowhere, kind of. And it happens to me a lot when, for example, this weekend we were watching movies and at a friend's place, and like I literally built a whole like 4 pages of a book in my head while we were watching the movie, and I had like I had to have my phone with me because I was writing down the bullet points, the concepts, the like ideas, the sentences that would come up. Like I was writing bullet points for why this happened. Like I was focused on the movie, but it would just came out of nowhere, and I would forget about it if I don't write it down. So oftentimes it comes unexpectedly and unrelated, and that's when you know you have to take note of it. Sometimes there's a sort of let's say the INFJ would kind of stand 1 foot in the conscious and 1 foot in the unconscious. It might be so mystical, and it might be looked at this as a sort of form of meditation, constant meditation, but meditation is quite different for the INFJ, and there are some sort of like similarities between NI and meditation, I would say, but this is like a natural state for the INFJ. It's like a default state almost, and that's why quite a lot of INFJs are somehow either spiritual Christians, because we have this appetite for what's unseen, and God can communicate to us through our own way of seeing things, and other people might think we're crazy, but we know we're not, because there is some sort of accuracy in there, and there is some sort of truth worth exploring in there, even if it's not crystal clear, even if we just think that we hear from God or have a sort of intuitive knowledge about something. Trust that. Like, trust that. That is your strength. Strength. You have NI dominant. It is your strength. Okay. It took me they even say that at some point in life INFJs have sort of revelation on their NI and how to use it, and then like it reconnects with yourself. You kind of like reconnect with yourself again in a different way, and refine yourself and refine your strength. And if you're at that period in life, you have me. Okay, so the next is the accuracy of the TI. That is a big problem sometimes. So sometimes you will notice an INFJ like thinking about something, and then they get blocked and they mumble, and like it's not clear. That's because the TI is not in depth enough yet, and the NI hasn't found his points to focus on yet. So a way to structure that is really train yourself to, like, when you use NI and TI together. See, now I'm like thinking this means that I haven't figured out exactly what I want to say. Because I'm like still trying to conceptualize the thing. That's what happens, you know. And if you get in an argument and the INFJ is like, oh, I don't know how to say it, it's because like it hasn't you haven't clarified the different layers of the TI that goes really in depth, or you haven't found a point to focus on in the NI and how to like connect them and organizing, and you're still in the process of construction. That's what it means. So my advice to that is like, take your time and really, it's easy to get distracted when you have NI dominance sometimes, because you get like to different points that you connect, but try to select a handful only, write them down, and then find the accuracy in them and the depth in them. And the way to do that is actually try to use the TE. The TE is in 7th function, so it's the place of the trickster. Extroverted thinking that responds to how to do it, you know. Or you can also try to use the NE, extroverted intuition, which is it's the 5th place actually, and it's what could be, you know, what could this be, whereas NI responds to what will this be in the future. So it's important to start communicating that what you're sensing, that it is there in your brain, that like revelation information that you have. Try to express it. Use your TE and SE to express it, even if they're shadow functions. Yeah, in order to come up with more tangible solutions. TE is tangible, I think. So the NI-TI doesn't just stay there as being like sort of like other world separate, unconscious world separate from the conscious world. If you use your TE a little bit, you might be able to give it shape in real life. And I know it's so tiring. I know it's like draining when you have to do that. But don't do it too much, because you're gonna get into like the TI hypocrisy and like mean, and you're gonna be irritated and stuff, and it doesn't work. So don't do it too much. Oftentimes when you're in that state and you don't get to a conclusion, try to use your TE. FE too, and that's how I said that it all connects together, but this video is just introverted intuition. But you can't just talk about introverted intuition without talking about like FE, without talking about SE neither, so TI, so it's all connected in the end. Yeah, another way that the NI comes to surface is when you're communicating, and I know I said that it's more we can use it better if we're not communicating, but it comes to surface when we're communicating without a script and actually going with the flow. And I encourage you to watch one of my videos to observe it as an exercise. When I actually start the video very crunchy, very like scripty, and very, I don't know what to say, like very like I don't know, structured in the way I'm putting it, very like superficial and empty. And towards the end of the video, it actually turns out to be very... Hello Naomi, welcome back to reality. You woke up. It's very intense. It's very... You give a lot of stuff. It makes sense. It's accurate. It's like fluid. It's like revelationary. And you might notice that in several of my videos. As the video goes by, I'm starting with a sort of script, and then it gets to like you're expressing your introverted intuition, and then it becomes more and more clear to you what you're saying, and it becomes clearer for the other person listening to this video. It becomes more, it speaks more to them because you have more training and practice to put your NI into words. Okay, so towards the end of my videos, a lot of the time I make more sense than in the beginning, and that's what I want you to do, because not every INFJ is on YouTube. So I want you to like actually practice freestyle speaking, starting to speak about something without thinking, without planning it, because that's one of the other problem that I put here, is that INFJs cannot trust themselves to say the right things because of this inability to dominate and make sense of the NI. So we can have a tendency to copy what somebody else said, because we know that the process of putting it in our own words demands research, actually demands TI layering, and that's when TI comes in place to really go in depth and understand something and make sense of it beforehand before exposing it to somebody else. And it's a long process, so the solution for that is to train yourself to come up with your own concepts and your own theories that you build up in your head, and that takes time. So for us, it's either script, either nothing at all when it comes to public speaking or expressing your ideas or writing a book. Now I'm gonna link it with Christianity, actually, because this is what this channel is about, actually. And I'm sorry I got a little bit in a different direction recently, because I started to get into like the Jungian functions and Carl Jung's cognitive functions. This channel is gonna be a Christian INFJ channel, you know, it's gonna be that, but it's also gonna be spirituality. So I'm trying to like research and do some like reflecting to kind of link those two together. How to like develop your faith, develop your relationship with God through using your functions somehow. I don't know yet how I'm gonna do that, but let's hope the Holy Spirit helps me. So as a Christian, how you can develop your NI is actually, you know, you can link concepts from the Bible with real life concepts and situation, or other concepts from the Bible, if you know what I mean. And you have the aha moment, you know, try to practice that. That's one way to use your NI in a good way and challenge it, and trust the Holy Spirit, that is the intuition that is communicating to you through your NI, through the little things and details. And you're gonna be like, you know, all these points in the NI that you're connecting, funneling down, well, the Holy Spirit is actually gonna help you select what's right for you for that moment. You can go in different directions with that, but the Holy Spirit is gonna reveal to you like, hey, use this, hey, use that. Those two link together, see? And that's when you have a revelation. But this is so natural for the INFJ's everyday life, but actually the Holy Spirit can really help you, guide you in that sense. So don't neglect your intuition, don't neglect your NI. It's a gift, okay? So use it. I hope to give you some like insights on how INFJs use NI and how you can use it better. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.